What's happening, my YouTube friends and family? Hope everyone's doing well. I am just finishing up a reset. Just, killing time. My reset should be up here probably by the time I finish recording this. So I wanted to throw out, this is just a quick afterthought, something that, I've thought about before. It kind of, it burns at me a little bit sometimes. So on these different Facebook groups, you're going to find it's mostly dispatchers. I don't know that there are brokers doing it too. You wouldn't think so, but you see it posted all the time. Looking for a driver with Hazmat endorsement. And here's the thing. You're not looking, if it's a dispatcher, they're not looking for a driver. What they need is a carrier. And booking a hazmat load is far more complex than just you got to have that letter on your driver's license. Okay, so for a lot of you that look at the load boards and you're trying to book yourself a load, and you see something really ridiculous like a pallet of propane tanks that weighs 400 pounds is going to pay $6 a mile for 500 miles. And, you're like, holy cow, that's great money. And you think to yourself, well, okay, well, what do I need to haul that? So here's the thing. No, you can't haul it just because you have the endorsement on your license. So when someone posts on Facebook that they're looking for a driver with the endorsement, that could happen if you're going to run under their authority. If they're going to lease you on and you have, your endorsement, cool. But otherwise, if it's a dispatcher, understand that the dispatcher doesn't know better typically. I just had someone post, and the funny thing is, my first comment, because it was like a $2.50 a mile load, and that's not what hazmat loads go for, guys. Okay, so the person posted it on there, and I replied because it really bugged me to see it, and I'm like, so you guys are effing up the hazmat load market too? And she replied with something like, "Thank you for your 2 cents, but if you don't like it, compare it to anything else coming out of that market." First thing you got to consider, guys, is hazmat loads do not have that type of rate fluctuation. This is coming out of Florida, and it doesn't matter what the local market's like. Your cost to run hotshot is extremely high. It does not fluctuate because you're in Florida or you're in Colorado or you're in the Pacific Northwest. And if you get, a broker, a dispatcher, anybody telling you that $2.50 a mile for power only is a good load because you have to compare it to the area, tell them to go F themselves. And here's some of the realities, and that's what this video is about. I'm going to point out some of the realities of what you need to do hotshot, okay? First thing is, your insurance requirement is $5 million for commercial liability insurance, okay? That's your auto. So right now you're required to have $1 million, and those of you that have gone out and gotten quotes, now figure 5, okay? And the first thing the insurance carrier is going to, or the insurance underwriter is going to want to know, what are you transporting? What are you hauling? Propane, butane, dynamite, fuel. There's a variety of different things that are considered hazardous. A lot of paints, believe it or not, are considered hazardous. Engine oil and stuff like that in certain volumes. And it gets complicated because in non-bulk containers, some things are not hazardous. Go figure. You can put a pallet and stack a bunch of things together, but if they're in smaller containers, it's not hazardous. But if you start a fire, you still have that many gallons on board, but that's not hazardous. Anyway, so that part by itself is complicated, okay? So, okay, you convince an insurance company to write you a $5 million policy, and be prepared, because it's not your current rate times five. Okay, it's nasty and it's ridiculous. So okay, you got your insurance. You now have to go register with the FMCSA as a hazardous materials transporter, and they will send you a separate certificate. Don't let anybody fool you. Oh, you just need to update your MC 150. No, you get a separate certificate. I'll see if I can grab one out of the truck I'm driving now. I got to be careful to block the information because they don't like that kind of publicity, the company I'm hauling for. So, okay, you need that. You need, in a lot of states, a separate license to transport. I know for sure California requires one, Colorado requires one, and Wyoming requires one. Those I know for a fact. In Texas, the Railroad Commission, I believe, requires for certain types of items. We hauled waste out of the oil field, and so we had to register with the Railroad Commission to be a waste haul carrier. So you get what they call a WHP, a waste haul permit. And so you need a variety of different permits, okay? After that, you need to train your driver, your employee, or yourself, needs to be trained on general knowledge of hazardous materials, and they require, if your equipment requires special consideration, so like right now I'm hauling liquid hydrogen, which means our product is at negative 450 degrees when it's loaded. Not just anybody can walk up to my trailer and start opening valves and offload the trailer. It takes training. And so those are requirements. And for the driver himself, it's like a $550 citation for the driver. Now, the carrier can get an additional citation, and they've raised all the minimums this year. I'll post it up, and it's crazy. I'll post it at the end so it's not like sitting here blocking out my face, although it might look better in retrospect. But anyways, so you need to have the operator training, the driver training. That's a requirement. You need to have the right insurance. Some shippers are going to require for you to have additional insurance, additional general liability, or an umbrella that goes on top of your current auto. So for us in the oil field, I've mentioned it before, they require $1 million for hazardous, 5, and then a $2 million general liability, and then depending on what you're doing for them, either a 5 or a $10 million umbrella. And so the insurance alone makes it cost prohibitive for you to be doing anything that's in the $2 and $3 a mile range. This is why hazmat loads are expensive, okay? So you get popped for not having registered with the FMCSA as a hazardous carrier, and you don't have their certificate. There's also another agency you need to register with. You're in violation of all this, and you have an accident where people get hurt, where people are exposed to dangerous chemicals, or where you cause quite a bit of property damage, they can hit you with a $250,000 violation, okay? These citations are not intended to be deterrents, okay? When you get a speeding ticket, you get a fine. Let's just say it's a couple $100, right? You get an overweight ticket, you get a fine. It's a couple $100. You get a serious violation for hazmat, guys, and these citations are meant to put you out of business, okay? They're not to slap you on the wrist. Oh, did you learn your lesson? No, they just don't want anything else to do with you. I've noticed since I've been hauling internationally, even because we go to Canada, when we pull in and we hand in, our documentation, our manifest, and they look through and see all our permits, we do get treated a little different. Almost like, at least you're smart enough to read, because I think when I've pulled in with the dry van before, you almost feel like they're looking down on you, like this is the best job you could get, you're a truck driver. At least I've had that feeling. But somehow when you haul hazmat, they kind of look at you a little different. And I'm not saying to toot my own horn, it's just, it's a very serious deal to transport hazardous materials across state line, and a simple mistake can put you out of business. And my goal here, or my intention here, is to point out to some of the new carriers. You know, if you let some dispatcher post something on Facebook saying, hey, I'm looking for power only, or I'm looking for this, you need this endorsement, you need more than the endorsement, guys. Don't fall for that trap. It amazes me. It would amaze me if they could get you the load without you being properly registered on the safer site. But I've seen worse happen, and you may think to yourself, I just got the mother load because I'm getting $6 a mile and it's 2 pallets. There's a lot to it. Okay, you can get a $20,000 violation just because the manifest has the wrong letter on it. Okay, and if you don't know the difference, if you don't understand what's on board, even worse, if you don't understand which two types of loads cannot be combined, not only can you get hurt or you hurt someone else, but you can end up in jail and you can end up with a $250,000 fine. Okay, and so this is something to consider. Study it, learn it. I know a lot of you new people look at, you know, the FMCSA's rules and you're like, oh my God, 395.5 and, you know, 394.2 and you're like going crazy. There's a whole different section for hazmat. Okay, go check out 170, 170 point whatever, and that goes on and on and on and on, and that's all just hazmat. Okay, and so there's rules and requirements for a variety of things. I'm not even going to pretend that I know half of it because I don't. We did a little hazmat hauling in the oil field. We transported fuel out to ourselves in the field and out to clients as a not for hire hazardous carrier. We sold them fuel. Anyway, and so now that I'm hauling for a company, still not for hire, but still regulated. People often confuse that. But now that I'm learning kind of what these manifests are supposed to look like and what the documentation is, and you know, in our case, it's just one tank, it's bulk. But when you're doing, you know, a couple pallets of something, there's certain products you cannot mix. Like our product, we can't even be in the same truck stop with an oxidizer because an oxidizer basically will help our stuff explode. So, you know, there's certain products that just don't go together, and you need to be very careful of that. If you decide to go down that road, study, learn all these regs, and it's not as simple as, you know, I got my hazmat endorsement, which that's the easy part. Taking the test was not difficult. It was like 20 questions or something. The difficult part is learning the regulations and how it can bite you in the butt. If you decide you want to go into this because you're going to get dedicated work, let's say you're going to lease on under a company and they haul propane. Well, that's cool because all of your loads are going to be propane. It's a tank. You're not going to have blended loads or anything like that. And you're just going to haul off a given manifest and make deliveries to different places, and you'll get trained on how to operate that equipment. But if you as a carrier want to add hazmat to your services you provide, and you don't have like a specific client or a specific product that you're going to be transporting, there's a lot more to learn, and even I don't know all of that. I don't say even I like I know it all. There's a lot I don't know, especially about that part of the industry. I'm curious now, I'll admit, you know, now that I'm doing it on a regular basis, I'm curious, you know, would it be more feasible to transport hazardous materials only and reactivate my authority and just do hazardous? I think the tough part would be getting qualified drivers that know how to do all this. Anyways, just thought I'd share it. You know, if you're looking through the load boards and you see, you know, the hazardous load, it's sometimes double what the going rate is. It looks tempting, and then when you get these dispatchers, you know, they're thinking the same thing because they get a percentage of what they book for you. So everything else is $1.75. Here's one for $3. Hey, look at me, I can get you $3. I'm looking for, you know, a driver with a hazmat endorsement. You need more than the endorsement. Don't let them fool you into that. You can end up in jail. You can end up bankrupt. You can end up hurting people. Anyways, this is just a short, quick one. And even though my long-winded ass went 15 minutes, my apologies. But everyone take care. Be safe. New Year's coming up. Have a happy New Year's. Hopefully it's safe.